Hey guys, so we're gonna do a quick little garden tour, see what's new, what's changed, and I'll see you when we get in the garden, alright? Alright, so from my last update, we have the mint over here. Sorry, motors. That is sweet mint over here. We have our golden raspberry that's doing very well. As you can see, there's a bunch of little new leaves growing underneath the already big leaves. That did go through winters, so I think it did a lot better from when I originally got it, which was like last spring, I think. My thyme over here is doing pretty well. It's bushing out in lots of areas, and then I have a tiny patch underneath the dill right there that it's starting to grow. Speaking of dill, we have these 3 or 4 plants here. Some of them are bolting, some of them are trying to. Because it got so hot randomly, I'm just letting them bolt so that way maybe I'll get more seeds, and that way I don't have to buy anymore, which would be nice. My rosemary is actually doing pretty well. I don't know if you guys can tell, but it has gotten a lot taller. It has reached past that second brick right there, so it's starting to grow, which is really nice. You can see all of the zeons next to them. Still not purple, but you know, it's whatever. I have my apple blossom snapdragon, this big old bushy thing right here, and its next door neighbor right here. I'm not entirely sure what variety that one ended up being, but it's dark pink instead of apple blossom pink, so it's a snapdragon. I have teeny tiny flowers starting down here and some hiding underneath the artichoke leaf there. I have this little guy trying to come back. He's a Hungarian black pepper. They don't get very big. My sage, all things considered, with the cats terrorizing it, it's actually doing pretty well. I have marjoram and oregano over here. I do believe the marjoram is this bigger bushed plant, and then the oregano is the smaller one right there. I have a couple spots with those. They're doing pretty well, all things considered for the heat and everything. My petunia over here is doing relatively well. It's also hiding next to its neighbor and everything, so that kind of helps. This basil I have to trim back, but it's doing well. Little sprouts in all the pots, which is kind of fun. I have nasturtiums starting to grow, which are these teeny tiny little specks right here. You can't see it, but hiding underneath this section of flowers is a tomato. This petunia, rude. This petunia is doing really well. I'm going to be planting some more beans and stuff back here so they can arch up as well. Speaking of which, there's one randomly right there. I don't know when I planted that. These guys, I'm on the fence of just letting them go or keeping them and seeing what happens, but my broccoli is starting to bolt and flower, so that's kind of neat. This one as well, like I was saying, there is trimming that needs to be done, but there is little sprouts in the pots, so I'm not super worried about it. Sorry, there's this carpenter bee that keeps flying around my head. My teeny tiny micro tomatoes down there are doing relatively well. I did lose 2 or 3 of them out of the bunch that I had, so it's not all that bad. My purple bell pepper is trying to come back. I'm not sure if it's going to. Potato row is doing pretty well on this side of it anyways. Got lots and lots of foliage over here. Still need to bury them a little bit more, so I might dig back there and throw some dirt in there. My collard green test group is doing relatively well, all things considered, so I'm definitely going to try to regrow those again. My yarrow is doing good here. It's kind of hard to see them. There they are, these little guys. No flowers, but they are growing for the majority of the reason. A few spots have died with the heat, but that's okay. Their next door neighbors are calendulas over here. I haven't really done much with the flowers, but they are pretty. My lettuce that refuses to grow when it's supposed to is so-so. All of these guys back here are different squashes and beans, and I'm going to be planting them in their new homes as soon as I can. But in the meantime, they live right there. I had to move the strawberries from the fence, one because we're starting the construction on the shade, and two because they were getting burnt. This petunia is still living life in its pot. It's not doing as amazing as the one that lives randomly in the middle of my garden, but it's doing fine. The random potato that I got mad at and threw in the dirt is growing. My chocolate mint needs a haircut. My poisonberry has gotten plenty of new leaves here, and I think we're starting to get new branches as well, or vines, whatever you want to consider those. So those are pretty cool. I did put a cardboard piece underneath it so that way it won't grow into the ground, because I've had to move it a few times. So moving on this way behind the tree. Speaking of which, I need to trim that again. So this little rose is doing relatively well. It has struggled the most as far as its location. As soon as I get the shade up, I will be moving it, but in the meantime, it's gotten a bunch of new leaves since the winter has stopped being so cold and everything, and it's gotten really warm, so there's still hope. Still hope. Coming back this direction a little bit, my white strawberries, which is Alban strawberries, got these little guys. Look at how cute those are. And I have a little bit of, whoa, dude, that's my head. A little bit of strawberries forming over here, so I can't wait. I have picked a strawberry or two off of almost every single plant since I've bought them, so I'm pretty happy with that. Again, more beans and squashes. They're not doing the most amazing. I might have to redo them entirely, but they are there. So we will continue on while we can. I did repot up some honey butternut, I do believe is what they are. Yeah. Oh, honey nut squash. Honey nut squash, I think they're a type of butternuts. I put them in there last night, so I'm hoping that they'll be okay, because they're not looking so great right now. My chili peppers are just going crazy. As you can see, I have some chili peppers floating about on these branches. I need to come collect, like right there. The basil next door to it is doing wonderfully. I couldn't say words apparently. Those are hard. I have a carrot in the bottom over here for no reason at all. I think I just stuck it in there because I got annoyed, and now it's in there. I do have some basil sprouts growing in the bottom. Same goes for this guy. I have to trim off all the seeds still, but I have more growing right there. This is my other chili pepper plant, and it is just covered in blossoms and whatnot. There's a few right there. Those guys. This one carrot right here popped up out of nowhere for me. I didn't even know it was in there. And so now it's going strong right there. I do have a handful or more little sprouts sitting next to it. I don't think you can see those even if I got down closer. These are supposed to be vining flowers. I think they're called cantabelles. This guy hiding right here from the wind currently is a blueberry plant. Now I gotta go back around because I ran out of runway. These are lovely, but at the same time it can be a pain. So we're on our way back around. I have two of my golden beets still. Haven't gotten big enough yet. My other random potatoes over here and amongst everything are doing pretty well as well. All of the kale that I have still left, I haven't even bothered to mess with it. I'm just like letting it do its own thing. So they're really tiny. But this guy right here is my broccoli that sits right there, and it is like ginormous. What the dude? If this guy was lower, I'd show you how big this stupid bee is. Alright, so this is one of my knockout or only knockout rows technically. My other ones died a long time ago. But it's doing relatively well. The white you see on here is diatomaceous earth. I have an aphid problem that just will not let go. I don't know if you saw it, but that little black dot was the bee. So anywhere that's like super covered is where the aphids physically were. And you can tell off of this guy, the aphid problem is annoyingly real. Also, I think I overwatered it, so Dude, that was my head. Hit in the head by a bee. This guy that got skipped over is a jalapeno plant. We do have jalapenos. They're approximately ½ an inch long. And some random basil on the bottom of it because basil got everywhere this year. Down there underneath the leaves are some little green sprouts. I'm hoping those are violas, pansies, whatever you want to call them. So in here is a various plethora of, get up there, get off, of tomatoes and watermelons and cucumbers and whatnot. I do have to uproot these guys because these are in a 300 and some odd tray. Are you alive? Oh, we're drinking. Okay, see? The little bee. Now imagine that little bee. Poor little guy. Imagine that little tiny bee like the size of that leaf. That's what that black bee was. It's a carpenter bee. They bite. That's my only problem with them. So in here I have all sorts of bugs apparently, just loving it up on here. But yeah, I have watermelons and I have cantaloupes and all sorts of things. I have to repot them as soon as I can, but we're trying to shift focus onto the shade situation because it got like 90 degrees and everything about died. So here is my Malabar spinach. I don't know if you can see it too well, this little pink thing right here. This is from last year. I did not get any of my Malabars down here in this first row to grow, sadly. So another jalapeno plant. Well, actually there's two of them here. I keep saying one, but there's really just two. They're what we're just calling our jalapeno twins, considering they came in the same pot. They are doing absolutely wonderful. One plant is doing a little better than the other, but it's okay. I have to refertilize everything anyways. Amongst everything down here on the bottom, we've got our ground cherries. They're doing so-so. I think I might have overwatered them a little bit here and there, but they keep acting like they're dead, so I lightly water as best I can. All of right here in this green patch here is my Sugar Rush peach, and there is a random poblano in here somewhere. All the other tiny little green sprouts that you might see along here are beans. And they're like different varieties of beans. Don't ask me, I just randomly put them there. Okay. I know, it's horrible gardening. You don't remember what you planted, but hey, it's always a surprise. This is my artichoke plant. No flowers that I can clearly see yet, but it is growing. Lots of leaves, which is promising. So hopefully by the end of summer, I'll have at least one of them. I'm hoping for at least one eggplant. So let's see. There's nothing is really in this patch here, but my cats also keep laying right there, so that's probably why. So I do have. Man, that bee is just persistent on finding whatever it's looking for. Alright, it's probably looking for like a nice soft woody spot to hollow into. I do have a bunch of bush beans amongst all of the basil that is down here. You can see these guys right here, stuff like that, and these itty bitty little green specks, if you can see them, are all basil, and they just go the whole length basically. Every day I see a new random little sprout pop up, so it's either basil or it's a bean usually. I do have what looks like lots of ladybugs, which is kind of nice, especially with my aphid problem. The little lettuce patch right here for no reason at all, because my cats think they're better gardeners. They're doing alright. They're not getting super big. I might just take them out. But I have lots and lots of little tiny sprouts. This rose is doing so-so. I noticed just now it is covered in aphids, so I need to go deal with that as soon as I can. The huckleberry bush will go around onto the other side, but it is doing pretty well. The peas are still holding on for what's left. This guy right here, minus the white splotchiness is because of insect problems I've found, just keeps getting bigger. I swear by the day it's another 4 inches or so around. But this guy, if you ever get it, it's a purple Prince Zeon, and these are amazing flowers. I love them so much. So you can see them right here. It's really, really cool. They just bloom in and out all the time. This little patch was covered like a week ago. Now it's all new blooms. I don't know if this is more than one plant anymore, but it started off as one. Hi, Copper. Hi, sweetie. My cats are leaving for the night, or they're just wandering around. Down here we do have some sprouts. I think they're just marigolds. I did have a marigold over here. I did put some little pansy sprout or seeds in here, so I'm not sure if the pansies are ever going to show up, but I do know the marigolds are still trying to pop up here and there. Like I said, the peas are doing pretty well. The spinach down here, tucked underneath that plant there, it's doing so-so. I've gotten a few spinach plants off it. Will you get out of my flowers? Onyx, get out of my flowers. You're gonna make me come over there, aren't you? Come on. Out. Shoo. You too, Obsidian. Out of the flowers. Come on. Why are you gonna be a pain in the butt? Out. Thank you. Sorry, they are the reasons I can't ever have nice things. Alright, so this guy here, I don't know if you can see them, the flowers are so very tiny, but those little white specks are not me dusting for bugs, those are actually the flowers. And then you probably see lots of berries. I do have a lot of old berries on here. I kind of gave up halfway through February to March picking berries because of all the aphid issues that I was having, and I had to spray, and there's like a time wait, and just a bunch of stuff. So there is loads and loads and loads of different things. This bush goes down to the very, very bottom. Oh, there's a ladybug right there. But there's like hundreds and hundreds of sprouts underneath it too, so I think I'm going to have a few huckleberry bushes underneath there. But yeah, that's pretty much all of the plants in this section of the garden. And like I was saying, we have started on the shade. This is a 10-foot pole that was put 2 feet in the ground and concreted yesterday, and we're working on the second one, which, because my dirt is so dry and hard as a rock, we have to put water in the hole. But we're gonna have a pole every 4 feet or so up until about that tree, and then we're gonna have the shade go across. So that is all we have for that there. But let's go look at the one last thing in the garden. I should say the front yard at this point. All the little green things are weeds. I did not plant none of those. Oh, this guy here specifically, I'm more convinced that this one is doing well because I do see little leaves. If I can find a section that has little leaves. Okay, this guy right here, I don't know if you can see it, but right there under my finger. Oh, there's a teeny tiny little leaf section there, and then like they're all over the place. So anywhere I find little thorns on like these little branches here, little leaves show up underneath or above them, so it's promising. It has been since about early to mid February that I had put these in here, so I'm hoping that they're going to be doing well. I do water them as much as I can, but I'm worried that it's always wrong. This guy on the other hand, you can see he's pretty barren and whatnot. I don't have any promising sections that show like definite growth. It did, when we first put it in, had like lots of blooms and everything like that. It looked like it was doing well. I don't know what happened. So we're just gonna hope that this does well and it just recovers and just needs time. But other than that, it is what it is. All the fruit on here are microscopically small, really tiny, so I just kind of pick them off and put them back in there and just like let them decompose in the hole, hoping that that will just re-nutrition the dirt altogether. So, but other than that, that is it. I'll have more updates and everything when these guys do better. I'm hoping that they'll survive through the summer just fine. They should, but it doesn't mean they will. And whatnot. So I'll just keep you guys posted on everything that's going on as soon as I can. On a fun note though, this little guy has some little limes right there. I don't know if you can see it. But there's a couple of limes right there that chose to grow, and I do have some flowers that pop up every now and again, so that's what gives me most hope that it's doing well. It's alright. Well, thank you guys for watching, and hopefully you guys have found any of this interesting at all. If there's anything that you guys would like to see me grow, just let me know and I'll see if I can. I do have more updates on different plants that I have going on coming up as soon as I can, but we'll get there as soon as we can. So, oh my goodness, why? Probably can't post this now anyways. Alright, well thanks you guys for watching. Catch you next time.